Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of life, to the sweetest kind of love. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Yeah, here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Please, let's pray together. As we come together this beautiful, beautiful day with the sunshine and fall is in the air. It feels so beautiful, so warm, so wonderful. We are so blessed as we know that God is all of that. God is us. We are all that one with that one. In this knowledge, we move forward in this day, sending love out to everyone we see, everyone we meet, showing the best of ourselves to others. As we send that out into the world, they receive it, and then they send the best out of themselves to others. And it goes on and on and on. And that's what we can do in this world right now. That is so important. So as we come together today, we know that this day is blessed. This place is blessed. Each and every person here and those who are afar, who are watching us online, we are all blessed. We are all blessed children of God. So we are so grateful today for all of those who've helped put this service together. Our ushers, our practitioners, our technical team, our musicians, our hospitality, all of those and so many more helped to put these Sundays together, and we are so very grateful. We know that it flows well and beautifully, and that Russell speaks to our heart, and that his words come from God through him, and we listen and we take it in and let it serve us for the week. We know that as we come together as a community, that we feel that love for one another and that love for our community. And we are so very blessed to be able to do that and to be able to feel that. For the feeling of love is what it's all about. And we are so grateful to be part of that. So as we are here in deep gratitude and thankfulness, we do say together, and so it is. We have some words of inspiration for today. And the first one is by Lydia Yaknovich, The Beauty of Being a Misfit. It's a TED Talk. Even at the moment of your failure, right then, you are beautiful. You don't know it yet, but you have the ability to reinvent yourself endlessly. That's your beauty. And by Rumi, where there is ruin, there is hope for treasure. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, God is always God. No matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there is always something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice, forever whispering within our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings.
We've been talking about living everyday wonder in terms of work this month. We've been talking about living everyday wonder all year long. And so in a lot of circumstances, failures are given, but what a person chooses to do with the experience of failure is called resilience. Sometimes all that is needed to find success is the elusive solutions and the creative ideas, is a little push at the hands and the heart of wonder. So we have an opportunity when we talk about failure. It's successfully finding out what does not work. But there's three ways we can look at it. Redirection. Failure could mean that we are blessed. There's something better on the way. Spirit always has a higher view than I have. This or something better is a request I try to make in prayer. When things don't work out quite as we had planned, it's Spirit's gently saying, no, I have a better plan for you. Could be a new thing, a new opportunity. Maybe we need to look at things from a different lens and in a different light. Maybe we've been married to a way that may not be the best for us. What works is being open at the top, always looking for a way to say yes to what Spirit has to bring. Many times, that's very uncomfortable. Many times, it's not clear to us what that path forward is. Then, of course, there's the bounce back. There's the resilience. There are things that have happened in each and every life here and in the lives of people who are watching this message. Things have appeared to be very dire in moments, only to have an outcome that far exceeds anything we could have imagined, because it all comes for our good. There's a grand universal conspiracy that Spirit has for our highest, best good. I believe that there is good and there's nothing else. There's one power. That power is God. So what do we mean by work? There's three views of work that we typically have. One view is that, okay, well, I've got to get up and go do this thing. I punch this clock so that I can get a paycheck, so that I can pay my bills. A more expanded view of work is, well, there's this career thing, and so I want to build a career. I want to take a vocation. I want to do this thing in the world that brings me joy. And then there's a third view of work, which fits into the middle of how wealth is described. And there's 5 pillars for wealth. The first is magnificent, perfect health. The second piece is remarkable relationships with wonderful human beings. Right in the middle of that is what we call meaningful work. And that's followed by unlimited creative expression. And finally, by material freedom or prosperity, the ability to move about freely in the material world. So getting back to work, meaningful work. What is real work? It's not punching a clock. It's not a career. It is going forth out into the world, being what we were created to be. You see, my work doesn't begin or end with me going into an office punching a clock. My work begins by being a brother, a grandfather, a friend, and yes, it is as a co-worker, but in the world. Who am I in my spiritual community? We are on the clock, so to speak, 24/7, 365, because you have a charge that you were created to fulfill. And it's something that you and only you, out of all 7.5 billion people on the planet, can do. How many of us actually try to figure out what that is or take the time to think about that? It's not easy. But let's think about work in terms of a calling with Ken and John there. Well, we probably don't pay them what we'd love to give them in our hearts. But the joy and the grace and the ease with which they come week after week to be a service to this community, the joy in their art, in their music that they bring is just off the charts. That's not punching a clock. That is built into their DNA. It's who they are. And it's that thing, it's those things that we would do, we'd do it for free. If we didn't need a dime, we'd still do it. We can't wait to get out of bed to do it. This is living everyday wonder in terms of work. So what we call work isn't a drudgery, it's a calling. It's that place that we want to be for the people in our lives that are closest to us. It's that place that we as people of conscience have a charge to be when we turn on the news and we hear things that aren't very peaceful, when we're in traffic and people are not being kind and loving in the operation of their vehicle, or just in their demeanor as we're passing through. We have to look beyond that, look beyond those conditions and see God in everyone and everything. That's quite a charge, and I'll tell you, some mornings I'm just not up to it. But I'm aware that there are moments that I'm not up to it. And so that's my opportunity to bounce back, resilience, bouncing back. We can take a spiritual billy club to ourselves for falling short, but sooner or later we're going to take that to other people. It's not where we want to be. Resilience, it's bouncing back and knowing deep at our core that Spirit has a plan, and no matter what those conditions might look like in the moment, if we trust and remember our principles, we know that Spirit has a better plan. So what have we talked about in the month of September? Well, we talked about good work, and we've seen that work is an extension of our individual passion, or it can be. What's our view? There are a lot of people who think, gotta punch this clock, I gotta show up. Gotta. Do I have to, or do I get to? Is the question I get to ask myself. We talked about good work, that value that we spread across our lives, that value. I want to be a person of value. The value I give my grandchildren, the value I give my coworkers, the value I give the people that check me out in the store, in the gas station. The value I give to people on the street in the form of a smile. We have a light. We're like candles. And if you see a candle, it only takes one candle that is lit. You can go from candle to candle to candle, person to person to person. Give your light and share that light and have other people ignite. It doesn't take anything away from your own life. So the second thing we talked about is creating a life that matters, and that's where I talked about meaningful work. What does it mean? What is my work? What is mine to do? What was I put here to do? Where can I find a place to say yes? Where can I say yes to Spirit? Whether that's uncomfortable, whether that's clear, am I seeking to find ways to say yes? Because that's why we were put here. That's my firm belief. Creating it's expressing the divine essence of who we are. My work is to be me. And that's a dirty job. I wouldn't put that on anybody else. There are moments when that's a dirty job. But for the most part, there are moments where this is a wonderful job. It's not like work. I get to. Then we talked last week about living the dream, stepping into that divine nature. It's not just identifying that, but stepping into that. And sometimes we don't have all the confidence in ourselves that we could have, But each and every one of you is just a magnificent and unique expression of the divine. Everybody that's listening to this message, you are perfect, whole, and complete. And there are two things you have to remember. First, you are worth your own effort. And the second thing is there's never anything to fix. It's simply stepping in to that divine soul that you are. So we got a unique perspective, that finds an origin in lessons that life has taught us. Failure redirects us. Our good comes to us in two ways. It's immediate and instantaneous. Sometimes our good takes a slower, more deliberate, and educational path. But our good always comes to us if we're open to it. And I've had moments in my life where I thought, well, there's not a lot of good coming to me. I was not open. I am the only one who can block the good in my life from coming in. Spirit can't do anything for us that can't be done through us. So it's being open at the top. And sometimes that's not easy when difficult circumstances come along. But if we determine to be open at the top, and open to the good that Spirit brings us, and open to having Spirit work through us, capable of amazing things, absolutely amazing things. We're called Wonder invites us to create positive change. As long as there's a reason to move, grow, or shift, there is the potential for the ongoing search for purpose, passion, and the larger contribution to society. I've had moments in my life, and I can't speak for everyone here, but I've learned a whole lot more when things went wrong than I did when they went smoothly. Because you see, I have to remember that there's a level of cause that starts at the level of spirit. I can get stuck in the effects, which are the conditions that are taking place. And oftentimes it's my own action or inaction that creates these conditions. So failure is that redirection, finding out what isn't working so that we can be open to have something else come. Dr. Ernest Holmes says, we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our lives. That was in the creative mind. And so there's a little story I have to illustrate this. It's a marathon runner, Akwari, in Mexico, in the Olympic Games in Mexico. I think that was in 1968. So while competing in the Olympic marathon in Mexico City, Akwari cramped up due to the city's high altitude. During the race, he fell and severely wounded his knee and dislocated his shoulder. He continued running, finishing last among the 17 competitors who had completed the race. 79 runners started the race. There were only a few thousand spectators who remained in the stadium after sunset. Akwari finished at 3 hours, 25 minutes, and 27 seconds. When he crossed the finish line, a roaring cheer came from the small crowd who somehow knew they were bearing witness to history. Later, when he was interviewed and asked why he continued running, he said, "My country didn't send me 5,000 miles to start a race. They sent me 5,000 miles to finish it." This is resilience. This is the thing that we have within. This is the power that's available to each and every one of us every minute of every day when we're aware that we're depleted of power. We charge into life many times thinking, oh, I've got this situation in front of me. I have to. What we forget frequently is that we've got access to an unlimited source of power, and it's just like any appliance. It's like the clock. It's like the projector. All we have to do is plug in. There's no limits to it. Flip the switch, plug in. That might be in the form of letting go. It might be in the form of asking for help. It may be in the form of saying to Spirit, making that request through affirmative prayer. Spiritual mind treatment is our power tool. We can plug in. We plug in with the belief. We may have a little bit of doubt, but we keep going. We keep going. It's this trust and this power. And there's an unlimited source. And when we get to that place where we have that absolute trust, strap in, because God knows what's going to happen. It's going to be good. It's going to be something. And it may be a little bit of a ride, but I'll tell you, it's well worth the trip. We have access to this. Yeah. And this is what Ernest Holmes was talking about. So spirit never fails. We as human beings, we fall a little short. Spirit does not fail. Know that no matter what others say, think, or do, you are a success now, and nothing can hinder your good. All the power of the universe is with you. Feel it, know it, and act as if it were true. act on it. Because it's there, it's that trust. It's frightening, it's a little scary sometimes to do that. Because my human vision is very limited in a lot of ways. There are times I get stuck in the conditions and it looks far too big. There's no problem that's too big for spirit. There's a spiritual solution for every problem. There are no problems, there are challenges. And these challenges are in the work. The work that we do is a practice of trust and stepping into the gifts that we were given, being all that Spirit made us to be. And sometimes we have to sit and spend some time with that. We have to vision. It's the vision. There are 4 pieces to vision. What is Spirit's highest, best vision for me? What would Spirit have me do? What do I need to become? What do I need to step into to bring this about? What is it that I must release that is blocking me from becoming that? What else do I need to know? And it's Spirit's vision. I don't have to come up with the vision. You know, it took me a long time to figure that out. For some reason, it's just like I can't picture this, I can't see it. What is Spirit's vision for it? It's plugging into that universal mind. When we're in line with Spirit, I can use the law. And there are 3 principles, principles 8 and 9, the declaration of principles that our founder gave us. He gave us a few of them, but 8, 9, and 10 are the ones that come to mind. Number 8, we believe that the universal Spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind. One mind, not many, one mind, which is the law of God. And we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impression of our thoughts and acts upon it. It acts upon it. When we come in with the force, we know it, we feel it, and we act as it. And we step into that. Amazing things will happen. Because there's nothing that's too big in Spirit. Number 9 says, we believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. And what is healing? It's a shift in perception. Even if it shows up as a physical illness in the body, oh, wait a minute, let me step back. I have been given the perfect vessel for my journey in this life. The natural state by divine inheritance is perfect health, that first pillar of wealth. Perfect health in every way. And that sickness, okay, it might be here, it appears here. That's not the truth of how I was made. And I trust Spirit to heal me. Now, don't make this mistake. We do believe in the prayer and the pill. You know, if aspirin had no role in that, Spirit wouldn't have had us create aspirin. But any and all things that are here for my healing, I am open to them. You know, as I said, I'm the only one that can block my own good. And then the 10th principle, it says, we believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. When chaos ensues, when we're struggling to get something right, it feels like something's not coming together, our work is to know that we can control conditions through this mind. It's plugging into that power that is here, that is available to us. And this is our work. Our work is to know and to step into these things. And we have to do it repeatedly. There's a name for that. It's called practice. You know, it's not having it all together all the time. I do like to tell people on the day I get my crap together, I'm going to have a really big pile of crap, and it'll be far too heavy for me to carry by myself. I'm pretty certain of that. So what's true is that we're at choice on how we view success or failure. We have a choice. I've got a good friend in one of my business networks. His name is Chris Westfall. He wrote a book called Easier. And while everything in life is not necessarily easy, we talk about cheerful expectancy here in Science of Mind. And what is cheerful expectancy? It's that understanding, that trust, that spirit is going to move for us in ways that are beyond what we could see, you know. What Chris says is hard as a habit. We start creating these things. The mind takes the direct impress of our thoughts. If we tell ourselves that we're in the middle of something that's going to be absolutely impossible, the universe will say, here you go. If you go, our words have power. If we say, oh, I'm so clumsy, guess the universe will say, here you go, and you'll stub your toe or trip over your own feet. We call these things forth. Hard is a habit. We get into the habit of feeding the impossible. And then as these conditions continue to worsen and toughen, we wonder, well, what happened? How did everything get to be so difficult? It's what we put into it. Chris says if we expect everything to be easy, whatever the task ahead of us will most definitely be easier than if we expect it to be difficult. Challenges are what help us grow. Challenges are what bring us back to the source and supply of all our good. The Spirit of God within is my source and supply. It's not the paycheck. It's not the relationship. It's not the shiny new car. It's not the dog. It's not the cat. The Spirit of God within is the source and supply of all my good. And the Spirit of God within knows only opulent abundance. Nothing short of that. And that's beyond just what's in the bank. It's that health. It's those relationships. It's the meaning for the work that you do. Wherever you are in your working moments, you are at work. Doing the work of Spirit. That only you and only you in that unique role can do. The creative expression, the unlimited creative expression. Musicians like Harry and Ken. That's part of that creative expression. It's not limited. Yeah. Is it writing? Is it painting? Is it cooking? Is it telling jokes? Is it speaking to people? There's lots of gifts out there. You've got them. If you don't think so, take some time and think about it because it's there. It's already in there, you know. So it's about surrendering surrender your agenda, non-effort work. I don't have to come up with any power. I don't have to produce anything. I step into the source, the Spirit of God with me. That is the source and supply of all my good. And I say, what's next? If it doesn't work out, what's next? If I make a request, this or something better. Because I can't always see, not all the time. So how do we apply this practically, you know? So on the personal level, keep our goals visible. Do that visioning. There's those 4 questions we can ask. And once we get the answer, we write that, post it, put it on the Post-it note, put it on the mirror. I have a sticky on my mirror where I brush my teeth. It says, there is never anything to fix. So what would Spirit have me do? What is mine to do today? This is my work. It's not going to be limited to the place I punch the clock. It's not going to be limited to my home. Everywhere that I go and everyone I meet, what is mine to do? This is living everyday wonder where work is concerned. Take that expansive view of work. Work isn't just punching a clock. So in the personal application, write these things down. Write these things down. Talk to other people. Talk to people in your community. Talk to other practitioners. Talk to people who will remind you when everything goes to hell in a handbasket, who you are and what you're capable of. Because you can do magnificent things. We forget. We often forget in the face of difficult conditions that we have access to all of these things. Another thing is community outreach. So, what can I do in the community? What are some organizations that I can align myself with? And when it comes to community, I see my community. This is my community here. We've done some pretty cool stuff to be such a small community. We've got spirit engines like Mickey Malk back here and Marty Dodd who show up constantly in this community. And they ask, what is mine to do? These are the kind of people I surround myself with because they will remind me when my vision limits itself to, I got to punch a clock to do this. When I start thinking, this is beyond me. When I get lost in the minutiae conditions, or God forbid, start looking at the news and watch people shout at one another. I have to remember that, hey, wait a minute. We're all connected. We come from the same source. Anything that I do against anybody else is really doing something against myself. And when I hear language that is less than loving, I have to look beyond that. I have to look beyond the conditions. This is the work that I'm here to do. Look beyond the conditions to what's the truth? The truth is that we're connected by, there's only one life, and that life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. It belongs to the person in front of me, no matter what they say or what they do, whether they're aware of it or not. Because as people as conscious, we are aware. That makes me responsible for what I do. And I have to look beyond that. That is work because it's not always easy. But we've got a power source. We know the truth. We know that there's a living, loving God that's working in our lives to bring us all together, to make all things new, to make all things well. So, when you hit these tough spots, you can ask yourself some questions. Questions help clear the mind. Questions are good to break up judgment. For instance, do I believe in myself? Do I believe in myself? Do I believe in you? If I don't trust myself, I'm going to have a hard time trusting spirit. I'm going to have a hard time trusting people. Do I believe in myself? Do I have goals for my career? Do I have goals for my grandchildren? What's mine to do? What do I need to become? What do I need to release to get where I need to go? Am I able to bounce back from a disappointment? We're human beings. We're going to fall a little short of the mark every day. But it's important to look at what we do right. Learn from what we do. We don't want to stay in it. We want to be in the now. And the hardest thing in the world is to be in the present moment. Am I willing to persist? And this is where the rubber meets the road. To live a life that's spiritually centered takes persistence. But I know that each and every one of you in this room, I know that all of the people that are watching this, you are up to the challenge. You are more than you may believe that you are. Because there's a unique and individualized expression of the one life, the one perfect life that is God. You are perfect, whole, and complete by divine inheritance. The key is to find that. So it's done to us, unto us as we believe, you know. You'll see it when you believe it. And that trust will grow. It's persisting at placing that trust. So we've got opportunities going forward to live an everyday wonder where work is concerned. And the first is redirection. Remember that we're blessed. And that when things don't work out, there's something better. Don't get lost in the fact that it fell apart. Step into the notion that there is something better and act upon it. Know it, feel it, and act on it. It's a new thing. There's something new. I need to approach this in a new way. There's a new opportunity for me to grow and expand. And then the third is to bounce back. It's resilience. It's bouncing back. It's I will. I know the Spirit is on my side. There's nothing that Spirit and I can't do together. And surround yourself with people who remind you who you are. Please join me in prayer. And I know that there is one life, that life is perfect, that life is God, and that life belongs to each and every person listening to this message and in this sanctuary. We know that there's only good in this universe, and that comes from the power of Spirit. We know that there's one universal mind that makes all things come, that is impressed upon it, and that we are charged in our work, in our unique and divine souls and life purposes to make everything that we touch better than we find it, everyone that we come in contact with better than we find it. Now give thanks for each and every divine soul and expression of this life that is watching this message, for everyone that is in this room at this particular time, right now, knowing that this power of Spirit is working through each and every one of you to make a life that works for everyone around us. I release my word in the divine law where it is made manifest at the intersection of right here and right now. It is already done in the universal mind. And I release these words in the divine law by saying, and so it is.
Oh, I was born to live life fully, to let go of regret, to walk the high wire of life without a safety net, to follow something even bigger than my pride, to show up with courage even when I'm trembling inside. I will not worry about what others think of me. I will not be shackled by the chains of conformity. I break the mold set in the past, keep pushing till I'm free at last. I'll follow the path of my heart and make my life a work of art. Call me to adventure everywhere. I'll let the top down and let the wind tangle up my hair. Well, maybe not mine. Hitch my dream onto the brightest star. On the trapeze of life, I'll throw my heart on the other side of fear. Yes, on the other side of fear, there lies euphoria and a greater understanding of who we really are. I'll break the mold set in the past and keep pushing till I'm free at last. I'll show the path to my heart and make my life a work of art. Call me fearless. Oh, I am fearless. Oh, I will push outside the comfort zone, remembering that I'm not alone. I'll follow the path of my heart and make my life a work of art. Call me fearless. I am fearless. Ooh, yes, call me fearless.
Ken Jansen and John Olson. They make it look so easy. They make it look so easy. Thank you for sharing your calling with us. And thank you all for letting me be of service to you. I neglected to introduce myself at the beginning. My name
Hello. I'm Reverend Jen Wild, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.